Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth Fast Eddie Layne with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
Greetings, good morning, and welcome to the weekend. So they tell me. 3 minutes after the top of the 11 o'clock hour on the East Coast. Yeah, that's about right. 10, 9, 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Wow, y'all get to sleep in late, you turkeys. Welcome into Beyond Ringside Saturday Showcase. The Shooters Gallery is open, cocked, locked, and ready to have a little fun on this Saturday morning. Live from Studio 1. The Magic City Motormouth Fast Eddie Layne, live from the C&E Studios, the Cos, Robert Cosper.
Caught and locked, seriously. Wow. Yeah, good morning. What's up, brother?
Oh, it's going to be one of those days, isn't it?
It is.
Like to welcome in from the Peachstate, the man himself, Shane Noles.
How's it going, Eddie? Talking to you means I know that it is the weekend, which is the best part of the week.
That made too much sense for me this early in the morning, dude. I've had 3 hours sleep so far. First off, thank you to everybody listening in through BeyondRingside.com, as well as the Beyond Ringside radio app for Amazon, Android, and BlackBerry. For everybody listening on the TuneIn radio app, as well as Shoutcast, Ustream, all fronts are live and active this morning. And actually got a couple that I don't mention, but we're going to mention those on the website in just a few. We're going to be joined in about 26 minutes by, I've known him as the Master of Malice, as well as one half of the tag team called the Brutes. Mark James going to be coming on board in just a few. Longtime friend of the family and good friend here. Got a lot of things on the plate this morning, and I'm going to go ahead and launch it a little something like this. This past Wednesday, NXT TakeOver, Respect, main event, 30-minute Iron Man match, women's title on the line, not that D word. Bayley, Sasha Banks in the main event. First off, I ask both of you, what direct message does this send to the rest of the women on the main roster product? Cosper?
Step up your game's what it means. And I haven't seen it yet, but if it's anything like the one you and I watched last month,
Better.
Outstanding. If it's better than that, I mean, obviously it was going to be the best match on the card, I would say. It was incredible, and I've made no bones about the fact that I'm a huge Sasha Banks fan. So, I mean, message-wise, step up your game. They're there to bring it. They're not there to you ban the D word, but they're not there to be divas. They're there to wrestle. Huge difference.
Shane.
Yeah, I too have yet to catch the NXT show from this week. It is on the docket for me to catch up this weekend, but a 30-minute Iron Woman match, I guess you would say, that I haven't heard of that ever in professional wrestling, and that's hard in 2015 to hear first.
I'm going to sit back and say this. First off, it was better than SummerSlam weekend. Ooh. They told a great story from start to finish. The psychology involved was perfect. There were a couple of small holes in there, but guess what? Once again, I will bring back my favorite comment. The human element is involved. We're not running a computer program here. Just ask the Avengers. And yes, still one of the hottest DVDs out there right now. We'll get to that in a little while, though. But the thing about it is, look, if you've got two humans in a wrestling match, including a referee, not including the referee, lo and behold, there's going to be a missed spot here and there. Guess what? That's life. And for everybody who wants to nitpick, get over yourselves. Plain and simple. I mean, I watch a couple of little things on social media as well as the message boards. Well, they missed this and they missed this. So what? Can you do any better? Have you been inside of a wrestling ring before? cranky, ain't I? No, I'm not really, just honest. You know, and that's one of the things that I sit back, and I know both of y'all watch social media just as much as I do, to a great degree. When you see people make commentary of that ilk about a match that legitimately as well as logistically would qualify at least 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5 stars, what's the first thing that crosses through your mind, Shane?
Kind of what you said. I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion, of course, but we're such a tough audience to please in 2015. And I say we, as wrestling fans, I think a lot of people are jaded, and I think, like you said, they're looking to nitpick rather than sit back and enjoy and allow a match to develop. They're waiting to look for that botched spot or something they thought should have happened here. And they love to run and point that out instead of putting something over that was tremendous.
Cos?
Shane's being nice about it. I agree with everything he just said. And he's right. And you're right also. The internet wrestling community is hard to please. They're always looking for something to nitpick. It's kind of like you're not cool in that arena if you're not bashing something rather than appreciating it. And it's my usual instinct is I hate you guys for teaching me about that Mark guy, you know? I mean, but there you go. I mean, but Shane's right, they're so caught up in finding something to criticize or critique or complain about, they totally miss the good stuff, you know? Or they don't appreciate it, however you want to say it. I don't know. I don't take them serious anymore. I mean, no, I'll bash TNA with you all day because it sucks. WWE does a phenomenal job for the most part. NXT is probably the best thing out there, in my opinion. But there you go. There you have it.
You know,
I'm done.
I've got to sit back and say it like this. I watched the SummerSlam panel that they did recently, and they just recently aired that on the WWE Network. And I appreciate and also the lead-in for the NXT show before SummerSlam. I like the way that NXT has managed to do the build. And it just keeps getting better. Thing about it is, here's your question. It's the 50-point little red dot. Get your lawn darts ready. In 2015, as it stands right now, both inside and outside of the business, for fans, wrestlers, workers alike, are our expectations now too high across the board? Kaz?
Mine are, yes. As a whole, for everyone, probably. But you know, I don't know about Shane, but I know where you came from, Eddie, and I know when I came up. Jim Crockett Promotions was my favorite wrestling ever. I think it's the best wrestling that ever has been presented to the world. And I came up watching that. So, yeah, my expectations are real high because, you know, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Nikita Koloff, Sting, you know. You're not going to have that now. So my expectations are too high. Are there good people out there doing good stuff today? Yes. But has wrestling completely changed and totally different than that? Yeah. Your storylines are not they're not as developed or as in depth. You don't have as much action as I would say. Yeah, my expectations are too high, and I say most people's are.
Shane?
It's an interesting question. I've talked about this with some people before. I think, try to put yourself in the mindset of a fan that's 16 or 18 years old now in 2015. And the last decade of the WWE or TNA or Ring of Honor is all they've been exposed to. Of course, now there's the network. They have an opportunity to catch up on Jim Crockett Promotions or, things of that nature. But, I just wonder, is it that much different than when we were that age or younger, and knowing what we were exposed to? I think some people, and I talked to some kids, at the age, 16 to 18 years old, they love it. They don't understand why, from people, say, 30 and up, there's such negativity. And not so much negativity, but it's like, we went through the Attitude Era. We went through the rock and wrestling era with WWF and Jim Crockett Promotions. There's just such a history of things that we've all seen that, yeah, I think in 2015 it's harder to shock us. It's harder to surprise us. And I think that's not just the medium of wrestling, but it's almost that way, in movies and television. You've really got to work hard, because there's so much groundwork out there. There's such a history that people can point to. Yeah, they didn't do it like this. Or, you think that's great, you ought to check out this. Everyone's always, pointing to something in the past. Well, yeah, if you think what the flavor of the week is here, check this out. And I think it's kind of hard today for anything to really, really, really stand out and impress.
I've got to jump on one little thing. We talk about Jim Crockett Promotions and that era, the NWA version of WCW versus WWFE. And if you remember, for longtime wrestling fans who remember this the first time around, and for everybody who's catching up by way of the network and YouTube, there was a decided difference between the way both shows were shot. Duh. You had the Techwood Studios for Crockett Promotions, which lent a more intimate, up-close appeal to where it's almost like that you're right there with them. Whereas in the WWFE version of Superstars Challenge, the WWOR show, and then as things started to progress, you were shooting in larger venues that added more of a from the stands perspective, from the grandstands rather than from the front row, from the bleachers, from the close bleacher seats. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people genuinely appreciated about the Crockett era. Even Center Stage being a larger venue than the Techwood Studios, it still lent a more intimate atmosphere. And I think that's one of the reasons originally why Eric Bischoff decided he wanted to do Disney as opposed to start doing big venues right off the bat. Whereas Vince was shooting in, 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 seat auditoriums already. Not to mention, of course, doing the Nassau Coliseum. God love that place and I miss it already. I really do. Mm-hmm. But when you have the NWA promotion shooting in smaller venues, once again, lending to that intimate environment. And it feels weird utilizing the word intimate and or intimacy when it comes to the world of pro wrestling, but it's true. You get that feeling of being closer to the action. You get that feeling when you're watching it on television. It's like it makes it more personal and personable, if that makes sense. So I think that's one of the reasons why I appreciated the factor of, and also the characters in NWA Crockett came across a lot more. We talk about reality TV nowadays in the reality era. They came across a lot more real during that era. Dusty, Magnum. Think about it. Flair, Blanchard, Andersons. They came across a lot more less. They came across a lot less cartoonish for my taste. If I wanted cartoons, I had cartoons on 3 networks on Saturday mornings. I didn't necessarily need to see it inside of a wrestling ring. But then along came the gobbledygooker, and I just had to sit back and say, can I please have what they're smoking? That's the easy way to say it. I want to shift just
Mean Gene teased me on that, man, when he was trying to open up the egg. He said, could there possibly be the Playboy Playmate of the Year? And that's what I was hoping for. But, there's Hector Guerrero. So.
Yeah, I think that has got to be one of the worst payoffs in any situation.
And it's one that won't go away. You remember it to this day. People still talk about that one moment. So, did Vince really have that big of a miss? You're still talking about it. It was horrible, but we all talk about it.
Well, here's the funny part about it, and this is where I think Vince McMahon at times does not take himself so god-awful seriously as a lot of people thinks that he does, especially from the outside looking in, because of the fact that they do rerun that footage. And
yes.
It's like, it's not only reminding us that something that god-awful horrible existed as far as a payoff to a build-up, but it also reminds him that there was something that incredibly horrible for a payoff to a build-up. Anybody want to jump on that one?
No, but look at the Vince McMahon character. Okay, he cannot. Does he take wrestling serious? Yes. Does he take his business serious? Yes. He cannot possibly take himself that serious and be the character that he's been for so many years now and do the things that he's done. I was, if I had to venture a guess, I'd say the man's got a great sense of humor.
Shane, care to jump in?
I think he has a very wicked sense of humor. If you look over the years, some of the ribs he's played for his own personal delight, much to the chagrin of the audience, but, to entertain an audience of one himself. And that's even continued, here recently, in the last few years. It's almost like sometimes Vince is like, this is what I want, this is what makes me happy. And he seems peeved and frustrated when there's negative feedback, like, come on, what are you doing? This is ridiculous. It's like, well, whatever Vince wants is what passes.
This is something that I've got to ask the question. I'm going to take it all the way around the horn on this one. With all three of us having worked to various degrees on the creative side, and now here we go, let's pull back the curtain for a second because we have all three of us here. Longtime listeners know, yours truly, 30 years in the business, started out, I've worked with a number of different companies. I have legitimately, by the grace of God, who I do believe all things are possible, I've worn every hat there is to wear in the world of pro wrestling. If there is a job that has anything to do with any promotion, including owning one, I've done it. But I've worked on the creative side as well. Shane, president, Peachstate Wrestling Alliance, and then some. Cos works with me with Global Championship Wrestling behind the microphone, also works as a manager, and also helped in the creative process. So we all three have backgrounds in that particular regard. There's your moment of brutal honesty for the day, kids. Yeah, really brutal, wasn't it? Wait for my side of the coin Tuesday nights. I need that nice little soundbite from what's-her-name in Major League 2. When you're thinking of ideas, when things are bouncing around inside the brain for possibilities and potential breakthroughs as far as storylines go, is there a little twinge in the left-hand side of your brain when you sit back and you think, how many people are going to get this other than me? And do you get a sick, sadistic smile on your face when you realize that number is not what you think it should be? Shane?
It's so interesting to pull back the curtain, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Wizard of Oz there. Now, what's the Major League 2 quote, by the way? I'm curious.
That'll
Get me on the edge here.
That'll shrink their little sphincters.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say I hate that GD song. Wow. But,
no, I haven't done that.
It's interesting. Rick Michaels and I talk about this. Sometimes we really have to just reel ourselves in and say, remember, we're looking to the fans. We're not looking for what you and I want, even though we are fans. We have to make sure that this isn't a segment that's going to go over their heads because you have so many different, especially on the independent thing in West Georgia. You got your smart fans, and you got your fans that's there for wrestling. RASSLIN with an apostrophe.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to find that good medium ground where you're not trying to outsmart anyone, but at the same time not keeping it just so simple that a first grader, can figure it out. It's a tough dynamic.
Cos?
Man, he's reading my playbook. He's exactly right. I agree wholeheartedly. Now, when I do it, granted, I'm a heel fan. I make no bones about it. So I try to come up with something like when I'm trying to create. I try to create something that will appeal to that wrestling side and aggravate people and make them mad, but that in turn that's going to make a baby face look really good. But I try to make it entertaining too. I mean, if you go back and read watch some of my stuff and read to the inside of it, there's one I'm working on right now. There's a couple of inside ribs, if you will, in there, and if people catch the joke, they're probably going to throw tomatoes at me. But if not, they're still going to be irritated and have fun. Though I try to put some humor in there. Sometimes it's my twisted sense of humor, but because I find it funny to make people mad. It's great. But they leave when they leave a show. They had a good time. They're going to come back. And it's difficult to write because you don't want to keep it super simple that anybody can figure it out, but it can't be too complex either. It's a fine line.
I like it when you can actually swerve the swerve, because you have people that are constantly reading into things. It's like, okay, this is going to go this way. This could go this way. This should go this way. This might. And when I hear somebody say this should go, even when it's me saying it, it lets me know that I'm thinking way too much and overlooking the pure entertainment value. Because I'm going to sit back and say, I've got to give credit where credit is due. And we talked about it this past Wednesday on TBD, the To Be Determined show, Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, 7 Pacific time. Ted Guinness, you're in the Mountain Time Zone, you know the time. And had to do that one. We had Tommy too much. Actually, Wick had Tommy too much on TBD this past Wednesday night. And one of the things that I brought up was the factor of getting people's jaws to hit the ground with the most simplistic things that are out there. And I brought up the concept of certain people being able to get away with certain things, and whereas other people could not. Case point scenario. At the Peachstate show this past Saturday night in Carrollton, Georgia, after Shane Noles called out a fan in the audience who was Tommy Too Much. Tommy was not working that night, therefore he was there as a fan. He had bought his own ticket, sitting in his own little VIP area right alongside America. Damn, I'm in like with America.
Of course you are.
Of course I am. Incredible young lady. Seriously, incredible. And that kid's is legit. From there, after Shane and Tommy had a nice little intimate moment involving 2 hands and 10 fingers. It's called a slugfest, kids. Lo and behold, Tommy tried to go back to his chair to find the real deal AJ Steele parked in it. And lo and behold, there was a line that was thrown out by Tommy Too Much that had me on the... It was all I could do to keep from dying laughing while doing commentary. DVD available, check it out, PeachstateWrestlingAlliance.com. When Tommy Too Much looked straight at AJ Steele and say, Kunta, you need to get out of my chair. We don't let your... I'm on the floor. Legit. I can't remember the possessive adjective. It was I or we. And said, don't like your type being here. Okay. I'm gone. I'm legit gone. But from that vantage point, I sit back and I'm going, how many people did this offend? How many people were laughing at this? Where is the happy medium between the two? And if you genuinely can get offended at a pro wrestling show, would you please up your medication?
Please.
For the love of God, please. Do you get offended?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Look, I used to get offended more at Desperate Housewives than anything else. It's like, can they really get away with this? And then, of course, I have to go back and I will sit back and I will appreciate something that was said many, many years ago. Not only did we offend the censors, we offended the sponsors. That's good. When you can actually get the attention of the censors and the sponsors, you're doing good. No, Kaz, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when you talk about if you get offended at a pro wrestling show, case in point, there is a lady at Global that... You know, I've been vocal about it. She's an idiot. If she gets upset because, let's just, Mudbone in particular, scares her kid.
Yes, I know it.
What's his character? What you know?
He the witch doctor.
And here's the thing: if it bothers you that Mudbone gets too close to your kid, don't sit on the front row. I mean, but every time she gets mad that this guy offends her kids, she sits front row. What does he do? He scares the kids on the front row. I mean, anybody that's ever been to a Global show knows that. But there are people out there that they look to be offended. And me personally, I found the whole deal this past Saturday in Peachstate hilarious. I mean, it was great. And hey, man, if you insult AJ Steele, I like you already, so it's great.
Shane, would you like to follow up in this one?
I have a saying about pro wrestling. It doesn't have to be vivid entertainment out in California. It doesn't have to be Bob Saget working blue in a nightclub. It ain't Sunday school either, kids. You know, pro wrestling is a different medium all in and of itself. And it's funny you mentioned that about a fan. I mean, sensitivity across the board in this nation, PC, not just in pro wrestling, but it's certainly made its way there with the audience. Because from my point of view, you've got fans now that they're looking for any reason to get their money back. They're looking for any reason for a lawsuit. They're looking, you better be on your P's and Q's around fans. And I'll give you a little story. 35 years ago, when I was a child, we were at the VFW Fairgrounds, Georgia Championship Wrestling, running a house show. I'm sure you remember Crazy Luke Graham.
Oh, God, yes. Yes, he was actually
parked out in the parking lot. The main event that night was Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, the Fantastics run the show, Tommy and John Rich. I remember it so vividly. As a child, we're sitting there, and Crazy Luke Graham had just pulled up. We have our window down, and he says, "Hey, you guys ready to see me kill somebody?" And, for like a little 5-year-old, that's whoa. And he punches me in the arm. Not hard, but enough that it would scare the dickens out of a little child. And instead of lawsuit, instead of, oh, my God, let's go get somebody, that made me even more excited to see him get killed. We went in and watched the show that evening, and I think about that from time to time, like, dear Lord, if Tommy Too Much walked up to a kid today and said, "You ready to see me kill somebody?" and gave him a light little punch on the arm, it would be World War III. It's just a different world we live in now.
Let me expound on, by the way, before I do, you mentioned Crazy Luke Graham. I remember when he and King Ripper Collins were teamed up. How's that for a flashback?
Woo!
Yeah, I know. Many, many moons ago, before my hair went naturally blonde in certain areas. Ash blonde.
Nobody wants to know that, dude.
It's before it went silver, ding dong. I'm not talking about anything else.
You're talking about hair in certain areas, and now you're saying
on my head, you idiot. Sorry, you know what I mean. Let me expound on this real quick. We're about to head to that bottom of the hour break. Hang with us, and like I said, when we come back after the break, going to be joined by a good friend, Mark James, in just a few. Hang tight. As far as it goes with Mudbone's character, now he's talking about the woman with the kid. The kid gets scared, and the mommy goes to start whining and complaining. And if you're listening, Layne is the last name. Send all letters to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. They'll read them before I do. I'll use them for birdcage liner or send them over to Mabo to have them shredded for guinea pig cage liner. Now, the child is on the other side of the guardrail. The child is where the child is supposed to be. Mudbone is a scary heel. You see the paint, you hear the music, it all ties in. You see the presentation that he's putting forward. He is a mystic. He is a witch doctor. He's not an obstetrician or a pediatrician. He goes up to the rail, does not make contact with the kid, and the kid goes, "Hey, he scared me!" And the mommy decides to get upset and go, "Mudbone scared my child." Guess what?
Yep.
He did his job.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, he's a heel. Wow, what a concept. If he was supposed to be a clown, he would have brought you balloons and a little kazoo, whatever. Quit taking the world so damn seriously.
I feel for that woman's husband. I do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they had to have sex at least once. They do have.
That too. I just was thinking he's probably the most henpicked individual on the planet. I feel for him.
Yeah, very true.
In case of emergency, break glass. You know.
Very true. Folks, we are going to go ahead and head to that bottom of the hour break. And as we make our way out, Shane, you were mentioning sound effects for a minute, or audio drops for a minute there. There's two that will likely get played at any particular point in time. When we miss a point or overshoot something, especially miss, Cos, you'll remember this one very well. Longtime friend, one of my best friends, and actually he is family in my book. And an original here on the Saturday Showcase, the Hitman Big Daddy Cool Ryan Adcock came up with this one.
Is this supposed to be plugged into anything?
And to which we sit back. And then, of course, if a question is asked, and every one of us can sit back and go, yeah, no, that didn't quite work. I reserve the right to pop this one. And speaking of, he just signed with NXT and WWE.
So you had all day long to sit back there and think of a promo, and that's the only crap you could come up with?
Thank you, James Storm. And we're heading to the break. We'll be back on the Saturday Showcase. The Shooters Gallery is open. We'll be back right after this.
The board is war, and you are locked into Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
This is Evan Ginsberg, associate producer of the movie The Wrestler, host of Legends Radio and Legends TV, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is Larry Goodman, GWH News and Notes, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, this is Stan Grubb for Wrestle Rage Radio right here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for myself and Smart Rage as we discuss the professional wrestling business from WWE, TNA, and all things in between. We'll have an interview here or there. We'll see what we can do to just keep you entertained. And along the way, we're going to have to bring up some emotion and make you think. That's what we like to do. So join us here on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see you at Wrestle Rage.
This is the voice, Ted Guinness, host of the show right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. And hey, guess what? You're locked into Beyond Ringside. Go figure.
Southern Legacy Wrestling is proud to present their North Alabama debut Sunday, October 18th at 2 p.m. at Northwest Shoals Community College in Muscle Shoals. 5 big matches, including AIWF World Champion Damian Wayne versus Crimson and Mr. Anderson versus Jeremiah Plunkett, plus Cowboy James Storm, The Rock and Roll Express, Michael Steele, and Hammerjack. Tickets are $15 general admission, $20 ringside, and children under 5 are admitted free with the purchase of an adult general admission ticket. Doors open at 1 and bell time is at 2. Get your tickets early so you don't have to miss any of the exciting action. Advanced tickets are available at Dynamic Fitness in Tuscumbia and Decatur, Unlimited Fitness in Muscle Shoals, Extreme Fitness in Killen, and Pegasus Records in Florence. Don't miss all of the action Sunday, October 18th at Northwest Shoals Community College. For more information, visit www.slwwrestling.com. Southern Legacy Wrestling, where tradition lives.
This is Bambi Weeble with Masters of Ring Entertainment, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
21 before the top of the hour on this Saturday morning, 10th day of October. We're 1/3 the way through, and it gets scarier by the minute. By the way, in our home market, want to say a very special happy birthday to longtime, actually, I would say, I can't say younger brother, I can't say older brother, he's just brother. No relation to Hulk Hogan, shut up, don't even go there. No. Kerry Gordon, 51, happy birthday, my friend. Folks, crazy morning so far, and it's going to get even more nuts. Fast Eddie Layne live from Studio One. Cos, come on back in.
What's up, brother?
Shane Noles, come on back in.
Present and accounted for.
I used to do that, but it would normally be preceded with my head flying off of my desk and the hand going in the air. Yes. Like to welcome in longtime friend and friend of the BR family. I have known him under a number of different nicknames. It has probably changed again, so I'm going to go ahead and go with one that he probably forgot all about, and that would be the Master of Malice, Mark James. Mark, how you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? That's kind of old one. Yeah, a little throwback.
Yeah, I know. How many nicknames have you used over the course of, since I've known you?
probably 3 or 4 since you've known me. That one's been pretty much the mainstay for most of my time, at least as a singles wrestler. Now most people just call me the Virgin.
Okay. We'll work with both of them. Trust me on that. I'm good at, see, that's the fun part about being me. I'm good at throwbacks. Now, first off, do you not believe in downtime or something? Do you not believe in actually, because I remember a couple of years ago, you were getting ready to leave the business and retire. And then lo and behold, that didn't quite work out, did it?
Yeah, there's no such thing as downtime. You got to keep going, and as long as you're having fun, you got to keep doing it. And there was a while that I was working through some injuries, and just I'm getting older, so I didn't really see where I was going and what I was doing. I was kind of just going through the motions in some places I was working at, and staying local a lot more. And there's some great stuff here locally in North Carolina, but I've always been the type that I want to get out on the road and do some good things, but. Again, injuries hold me back. I had a neck issue that was going on back then, and my back has always been an issue. So I was, looking to kind of relax a little bit and get into this new job that I had at the gym and do what I could there and make some good money for the family and, take some time off. But honestly, what happened was I got into, out of nowhere, this guy, Jimmy Parker, and happy birthday, Jimmy, by the way. It's my tag partner's birthday today, so
cool.
We've known each other on the road for a while, and been on some shows and things like that. And I used to make fun of him for looking like a reject Colt Cabana. But we're in a locker room together one day in Thomasville, North Carolina, at ECPW, and he was the current heavyweight champ there, and I was one half of a tag champ with this guy, Donnie Dollars. And we're getting dressed, and we kind of looked across at each other, and we're like, man, like, he's putting on blue gear, like, body style's about the same. He's looking at me saying the same stuff. And his dad just, like, walked up. He's like, hell, you guys should be a tag team. And we're like, why the hell not? So we started talking. It took a few months, and we finally figured out how we can get together and do it and what we wanted to call ourselves and the type of team that we wanted to be, and got to work together a little bit to get our timing down. And it just took off like a rocket ship. I mean, we started, people all over the country are calling us, and we're, running around and having a great time. Head up north more than anything is really where I wanted to go. The Pennsylvania area. I feel like if you're in the wrestling business and you can make it in Philly and Pittsburgh, and they don't boo you out of the building, you're doing something right. There's stuff there, and now Florida's getting about the same, and a lot of areas, the smarter fans are out there, so it makes it a little more difficult on you. But if you go in, you do a good job and suspend people's disbelief for a little bit, then you're doing something.
Here's
what's that?
I got to throw this one at you real quick, because knowing the fact that you've worked in so many different states, how is it that, and this is legit, North Carolina, you legitimately cannot stand on the top of a building, throw a rock without hitting a pro wrestling promotion. Same thing in Pennsylvania. I say the same thing about Tennessee and Georgia. And because you've got so many different promotions that run inside of one physical state. When it comes down to it, in North Carolina, first off, how many promotions do you know about? Second off, how many have you worked with? And C, or three, take your pick. I can break alphanumeric, it doesn't matter. How is it that there ends up being so many promotions in one state? Go for it.
Oh, okay. Well, the easy answer to C is there's no regulation to it here, so nobody cares. Anybody that's an idiot with a ring and some money is going to throw a show together. And it usually starts where a decent promotion started it all off. Some jack-off went over there and started trying to work with them, realized he sucked. They threw him out. He's like, oh, well, I'll teach you, and I'll go buy a ring myself and start running a show, and I'll teach all my friends that don't know a thing, and I'll get them to wrestle also. And then one of their friends will get pissed off at them because they won't put them on a show, and it continues, and it's a vicious cycle. Now, I will say nowadays it's gotten a little bit better. It went from there being, at the time when you and I met, we were in Power Pro, and Power Pro was probably one of the best things going to state. That and CWF Mid-Atlantic were the two promotions in the state of North Carolina that anybody really gave a damn about. Omega wasn't running then. They were on their hiatus while the guys were off, working for the big company, so it didn't matter. When Power Pro died off, it was really just CWF for a while, and then a company started. I think it was Evo,
right?
Started up, and they moved into PWX, which is now kind of the PWG of the East Coast. Is really what it seems like they're trying to make it out to be. After them came AML. With them, there was TNT, Championship Wrestling. There was now CWS and Ashboro is trying to do some better stuff, and it got to the point that a lot of the people around the area wanted to kind of take it back, and some of the promoters just refused to book crap talent, which is great. Now there's definitely the other side of it, because last time I checked, there was 240 different promotions just in the state of North Carolina. There's only 4 Saturdays a month, and most of them run on Saturday. So AML's gotten smart. They don't run on Saturdays except for I think every other month or something like that. They'll do a High Point show on Saturdays, but typically they'll run Sundays. PWX typically runs a lot of Sundays. They may do a double shot on a weekend. So, they're smart about it, and they bring in enough talent, and it doesn't matter. They're going to draw.
Yeah, I love it when something happens with PWX, especially because normally I'll get a text just after something's happened, because after Country Jacked, Adam Page and Corey Hollis won the tag team titles there, I got a message from 3 different people. They just won the tag belts. It's like, cool, and we get the breaking news on BR Live.
There you go. And it's really cool too with them. They've got I think they've got an app that you can download, and it kind of keeps up with their stuff. CWF Mid-Atlantic has an app online for Android and I think for iPhones too, that you can download and keep up with what's going on there. CWF now has a worldwide show that they do on Wednesday nights, I believe at 9 o'clock. And they'll run our shows from last week. And speaking of which, coming up, cheap plug, this week should be the CWF Rumble, which is their yearly event, Royal Rumble style match that I'll be in and starting. So number 2 in there. Enjoy. A lot of hard hitting stuff. But yeah, watch this this Wednesday on YouTube, CWF Worldwide. I believe it comes out at about 9 o'clock. But I mean, there's just really good stuff that's going on right now in North Carolina. We've got a lot of really talented guys that are here, and you can tell that because now you're seeing all of our guys, the Trevor Lees and John Schuyler's and Andrew Everett's and Adam Page, Cedric Alexander. All those guys are coming and they're hitting Ring of Honor now, and they're in FIP now, and they're in PWG, and it's hitting some of the quote-unquote super indies that are out there. And all those guys are from here. I've known Trevor. You've known Trevor.
Yeah.
I think, since the Power Pro days. Trevor used to be the Little Dragon back in the day at Power Pro from the famous TLC match with way too many shitty gimmicks in it. Excuse my language. But yeah, he was awesome back then, and he's even better now. Andrew Everett has been doing moonsaults since he was 7 years old, and now the kid, he's the apex of agility. This guy's a world traveler now. I mean, it's amazing. And all this talent is coming right from, I mean, I can throw a rock in either direction and hit somebody that can do something. So it's pretty cool. North Carolina has that ability. Pennsylvania is kind of the same thing. There's not really a big, there's no commission really that regulates everything. You don't need licenses to run. So it's easier in places like that. In South Carolina, you need a license, and the promoter's got to have license, and you got to have insurance, and you got to have this, and you got to have that. So it's $350 just to run an event, plus the insurance, plus, paying your talent, plus if you pay your talent, half places, which is crap. Anyway, pay your damn talent if you're a promoter. And there's a million other things that go into it. So I guess long answer to your question, that would be it. As far as how many have I worked for, God, I've lost count over the years. Probably 40 or 50 of them, maybe, in North Carolina.
Still amazes me. I think we've got like 7 promotions running in Alabama right now in different geographic regions, and it still tickles me because every once in a while you'll get that one rogue that just wants to try to invade somebody's personal space. He was like, I didn't know you were running, and we just fired you from the show a month ago. Yeah, right. Okay.
And it happens. People do. It's a vengeful thing that people do now. It's not.
It's the difference
in somebody wanting to build the business up and do something that's going to help professional wrestling.
Right.
And if you really cared, for anyone out there who's one of those people that have been fired off a show or fired, it's released, whatever, they stop from you. For anybody out there that's done that, and you've been the idiot that can't get booked anywhere else, but you choose to buy your own ring and start running your own show with your buddies from your backyard adventures that you had when you were 10 years old, get out of the damn business. You're killing it. You're the problem. You know what I mean? And if you're that guy, go screw yourself, because I hate you, and if I see you, I'll probably punch you in the face. Now, if you're a guy that cares about the business and you want to book the best talent out there, and I may not be what you consider the best talent. It is what it is. I don't work with PWA. They're cool. They're still a great organization. I don't work there. We've been in talks, but nothing has come through. I've worked with AML once. Great organization. I talk with the guys all the time. They don't need us to come in yet. I understand it as a professional because you're trying to build a product. And with that product, you have certain ideals of people that you want there and people you don't. And there's certain guys that can draw money. For instance, EC3 right now at TNA is money. That guy's a star, right? But he got released from WWE with Derek Payton.
Right.
They didn't see it, right? So he goes somewhere else. He's a freaking star. This guy's a draw. He makes money. Well, as much of a draw as anybody at TNA is. But he's a draw, and it is what it is. He just wasn't what WWE needed at the time. There's plenty of guys that's happened to. Steve Austin got released from WCW. When the ECW became huge, when the WWE was even bigger. So it happens. So I don't get upset if people don't book us. And I've had that question before. You guys are a great tag team. Do you feel slighted if you're not getting booked at some of these bigger places around here? I was like, no, because I'm getting booked at bigger places in Pennsylvania and New Jersey and New York. I could care less. I'm still working every weekend. I'm still getting paid, and I'm not losing money. Here's the other thing too that answers your question. I'm sorry, I'm really long-winded, guys that don't know me, but here's the other thing that answers your question before too. Why am I still doing it? Well, I'm having a really good time. I'm working with one of my favorite people in the business, Jimmy. The guy's amazing and super talented. And we're not losing any money. Like we're going on the road and we're coming home and we're either breaking even or we got $5-10 to put in our pocket afterwards. And we had a really awesome trip for a weekend. And who cares? If I'm not losing anything out of it and I can still go out there and perform and entertain people and have a great time doing it, why stop?
Exactly. Want to open it up. Robert Cosper, come on in. Got a question you want to throw to Mark James?
Oh, hang on, I have my mic muted. Yeah, I was laughing. He was killing me. I love it about you're 100% right on the people that get bitter and decide they're going to start another promotion. You're right. That is what's killing the business, and you obviously have seen it on a bigger level than I have. No real question. That was a great point. You're spot on.
Shane Noles, come on. Go ahead. I thought I was stepping on Robert. Sorry about that. Shane, come on in.
Mark, you spoke off air as well as on the air about someone I'm very familiar with. That's John Schuyler. He's worked for our promotion, Peachstate Wrestling Alliance in Carrollton, a couple of times, and it's been interesting to see the progression over the last couple of years with John. Did you say you were tag teaming with him upcoming this weekend?
It's next weekend, sir, and we're actually against him. It's John Schuyler and Adam Page against myself and Harlem Bravado in the matchup of the mixed-up tag teams. So we're at CWS in Asheboro, North Carolina, and you can find their website on Facebook or find me on Facebook and the poster and everything else on there. But yeah, I'm going to be facing him. First time facing him. I've actually tagged with him once, twice before, I believe, in multi-man tag matches. But yeah, super, God, sorry, really awesome guy, super awesome talent. And you're right, he has come a huge way over the last couple of years to the point that he dark matched the last TNA pay-per-view last weekend while they were here in Charlotte area. So good for him. Congratulations.
Now, loaded question. With everything that you've been through, everything that you've done in and around the world of pro wrestling, the challenges.
The Donkey Show.
No.
Challenge.
Shots fired. Officer down. Send back up. You really have been listening on Sundays when Mabo gets on a tangent, haven't you?
Sometimes.
I have to be careful about saying either Mabo or Wick because I know that it's kind of like that Beetlejuice theory, especially when I say the words Wick and Nemesis. If I say it 3 times real fast, he will show up.
Awesome.
And hashtag, oh, yeah, I'm surprised you didn't call this one out because you and I were the ones who actually started that whole hullabaloo. Hashtag, hell damn ass.
Thought about it.
Yeah, actually, I give credit where credit is due because it was actually a scenario with you, Jim Foley, Jim Fox, i.e. Dick Foley, and Mabo and Mark Bowman and myself. We were all going back and forth, and lo and behold, it just happened. I can't remember exactly who said it when, but I actually give you partial credit on the hashtag hell damn ass thing coming into play. So it's your fault.
Sweet.
Other than the Donkey Show, what's been the biggest challenge so far? As far as inside, whether it be inside the ring, outside the ring, because I know you've done, you hosted radio, co-hosted radio, you've done internet television as far as like Power Pro TV and a couple other promotions. Lo and behold, in ring, out of the ring, all of the above. What's been the biggest challenge?
Man, I've always felt the in-ring part of it's been pretty easy. The show portion of it, once I got it. There was a long stint of about 8 years in my career that was terrible. And then about 6 years after that, I was pretty mediocre. And now I just suck. So it was one of those, the in-ring is not so bad. I think at Power Pro, when we were doing bi-weekly stuff and sometimes weekly, and booking all that, and I mean it was a lot of fun because it was like me and Moses Manson and Jim Fox and Mike Devine towards the end, and we would be up in a room and just throwing ideas back and forth, but just trying to keep up with the booking, and it's impossible to make people happy in there, so you're trying to give the best light to all your guys, but it's still one of those situations. I'm a big guy. I believe that, each organization kind of needs a jobber. Like you need a Barry Horowitz, you need an Iron Mike Sharp, you need a Brooklyn Brawler, that kind of guy in your Fed that the people just know he's going to get his ass kicked. But they still love seeing him anyway. He's one of those guys. And you need those guys in your promotion to build up the guys that are going to go past them, the ones that you want to be the torchbearers in your Fed. And trying to fight for those points, but you don't want to step on anybody's toes because the indies, everybody's trying to get somewhere, even though 98% of them won't. They all want to go somewhere and they want to try and do something. And I think that's the hardest part is, number one, seeing the talent, who would be good in what area and finding the right angle for them, and then trying to get it to resonate to the fans. Now, on the other side of that, when it does work, is probably the greatest feeling that you could ever have. I feel like if I booked a really successful angle that drew and just packed the house every single time, I felt more accomplished than I did being involved in a really successful angle that drew. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's your baby. You're trying to raise it, and seeing that flourish and seeing the guys involved in it, it's pretty cool. Other than that, like I said, just staying healthy, I guess, is the biggest challenge. Out of this, I've been doing it 15 years now, so I've had a lot of injuries and a lot of trouble. And actually, I'm completely wrong. The biggest challenge with anything in the wrestling business is being a husband and father, really, and that goes on a whole different level. So anything involved in all the rest of that stuff, we're so in depth into the wrestling business that it hurts our family. And I've been divorced over it once. But it's being a good parent and being a good husband, and not running around with the rats while you're on the road, and taking the time out. Like tonight, I don't have a show. The one I had canceled, so instead of going out, and sometimes I'll go get another booking, but tonight I was like, no, I'm just hanging out with family. Just making those tough decisions, and further along in my career, I've been able to do that because, Vince ain't going to knock on my door anytime soon. I'm 36 years old. Not to happen. there's other things I could be doing and what have you, and I chose to be with my family. If I got a show tomorrow, I could have them last night, but it's one of those things that I think has been the biggest challenge for me out of my entire career, is just being a good person to my family, the people actually that care about me, care about Mark Carley instead of Mark James,
Let me take it around the horn one more time real quick. Cos, got a question or comment?
No, I'm still agreeing. I'm going through a divorce because of wrestling too. I totally understand.
Yeah, it's so tough, man. It really is. My ex-wife didn't get it. My current girlfriend, fiance, she gets it. She understands the wrestling part of it and is very supportive, and uses it to her advantage. She's like, "Oh, you're going to Pittsburgh this weekend? Awesome. So I want to go to the beach here in a couple of weeks, and you're not going to say no." Like,
there you go.
Well, it's only fair. So, and just figuring that out, it's so tough. And then you miss birthdays and you miss holidays, and depending on how serious you are and what you're doing, and it's always been the tough part, being able to support them and be there for them and not be an asshole that's on the road all the time. But
like I was.
That's how it goes.
Like I was for the last couple of years of a failed nuclear meltdown or a failed nuclear experiment, which resulted in a meltdown, and I still apologize for that for this day. It was all about that. I'll go into that a little bit later, but yeah, I know what you mean about making that last minute decision. You talk to the guys. It's like, ooh, you're working Pittsburgh. Hey, dude, get me a shot glass from Hooters. And you make a reference to the girl. It's like, yeah, you're going there this weekend. You know something? I need to make sure that you have time to cut the grass. No, I'll pay.
So what I've done is I just paid a guy to cut my grass.
There you go. That's what I did. That's what I did.
Makes my life easier.
Yeah, supposedly. Shane, come on in. Question, comment?
Yeah, I got a question for you, Mark. Just curious. I know the Carolinas is your home base, but you say you branch out, up into Pennsylvania, New Jersey, that area. And it's something we were talking about before you came on. Today's wrestling fan. Just curious your thoughts and your travels. The difference between fans, say, in New Jersey and the Pennsylvania area as opposed to in the South, and is there a geographical point where when you're traveling you can tell a difference from state to state? Like, I know what kind of fan base I'm in for tonight.
Yes and no. It depends on the part of the state that you're going to a lot of times. There's places in Pennsylvania that it feels like I'm 10 minutes from my house. They're just as country. There's just as redneck. And they love good Southern style storytelling wrestling, but then you'll get over to Philadelphia or you'll get to New Jersey and or Chicago or something like that. And they'll like the little more spotty, strong style type of wrestling. Me, I'm a little bit. I'm not strong style by any means. I've never been in Japan, and hopefully we'll be going in the near future, working on some stuff for that. But and even then, I won't be strong style. I'll be there, Stan Hansen, going over there, or Steve Williams or somebody like that would be more of what I can bring. But my style translates in a lot of places because it's strong and aggressive and realistic. And people believe in everything I do in the ring for the most part. And then on top of that, I'm able to be very athletic and have good agility for a 300-pound guy that I can still do moonsaults and drop kicks and things like that if I want to. Same thing with Jimmy. So our style tends to translate. So we don't really change a whole lot depending on where we are, but you can see a difference in the fans depending on, again, the region. The southern fans in the country area, at least, really like the slower storytelling, fun, very entertaining type wrestling. Up north, especially in the Philadelphia area, they want a little more technical, a little more smart type wrestling. They're not into the hokey, crap that we can get away with down here a lot of times. So but they respect nostalgia and things like that. And if you do it right, you can get away with it. It just depends on where you're at and who's there. But yeah, you can definitely tell a difference. It's no different than if you book a show, and obviously you have some of the same fans come, but eventually those fans turn into smart marks a little bit because they've been around your organization for so long and they kind of know what's going on and what's happening. So you got to change up a little bit to make sure you can keep them on their toes. Like I always took pride with Powerful. We were running it for 3-4 years, that we were able to keep people guessing every time. And regardless of, they could be a fan and be our camera guy could be there and he's in the back with us, and we'll have enough things that'll keep him on his toes of what's going on. And if you can continue doing that, you're going to have a successful promotion for a long time.
3-2 pitch. What would be? We always talk about the first match. We always talk about the last match. On the best of or the highlight reel, what would be the first match you would put on your personal highlight reel, and what would you put in that closeout slot?
Oh, Jesus.
I change that 3-2 pitch every time you come on, don't I?
You really do. God, there's so many really. It's so hard to say, man, because there's matches that I've loved out of my career that have been great for very different reasons. And then the booker in me comes up and says, "No, you can't put that match first, because why the hell would you start the show with that?" It's so hard to say that. Let's put it this way: one of the probably most fun matches I've ever had was myself and Tito Rain, and we did a blindfold match, throwback to Jake Roberts and Rick Martel.
Right.
And it was so much fun, and we had just a complete blast in the ring. So I would put that on early in the card, I guess, for my style of stuff, because it's not going to be a big impactful match, and it's not a main eventer by any means. It's a good big card match, but it's so much fun, and the fan participation in it. It could be used as an opener just to get the fans hot. Really, I wouldn't recommend it because it's a gimmick match, but I hate starting shows with gimmick matches. Anyway, main event. There was a match that we did at TNT, and I still go back to that this day. That match has gotten me a lot of bookings, and it's on YouTube. It's really good. Lee Valiant and Adam Page, the Neon Lions versus or Neon Bombers or whatever the hell they were, versus the Brutes. And it was the third match that we had as the Brutes. And we were in this place, Carborough, North Carolina, and TNT runs free shows, literally free shows for the public. They're paid shows. We still get paid. They take care of the boys very well. Really good guys. They make sure we have a blast. They'll buy us a drink afterwards. They're awesome people. And we go there, and it's a bar, and it's a crappy little area around Chapel Hill, and we're like, man, this looks bad. You ever have those shows that you just walk up and you're like, oh,
yes,
damn it.
Yes.
Why did I take this booking? Okay. And
there was money, a hot dog, and a Coke involved.
Yeah, the money was good. And then on top of that, we knew the guys we were wrestling, and we knew we could have a good time. And we got in there and just tore the house down. There's probably ended up 450 some odd people there watching, some of them drunk, some not, because it's at a bar, so who cares? It's outside. And we just packed it, and we put on a hell of a match. That even Chili Willie from ECW was there, and he was losing his stuff like he was a fan. It was awesome. That's probably one of the top matches, and it's hard to put that up there, man. I've had some really good ones. We had a blast our first time in Hanover, PA, working Balls Mahoney and Mikey Whipwreck. I've been able to work with Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton. I've had a lot of really good matches and a lot of fun. So I mean, it's hard to really get that main event one. There's something that Arn Anderson said, and a friend of mine sent to me, because I kind of got down on myself a little bit for a while, where I was wondering what's going to be next for me again. I do that every 3 months. And he sent me
thought it was 4.5.
He sent me an interview of Arn Anderson. He's like, I can pride myself in the fact that no matter what anybody's asked me to do, I've been in a lot of bad situations, but I've never had a really shitty match. And that's kind of something I've always prided myself on, regardless of whatever happens. And I've had some questionable things and everything else, but I've always done good business, and I've always gotten over what needed to get over, and we've always had a really good time at the end. And maybe a botched spot here and there, but I tend to call it in the ring. So if you don't call it, you can't botch it, right?
Right.
So it's one of those, like, I always feel pretty consistent throughout my career that I've been able to build it well. And there's some places I can go in and I can be a main event character if they need me to. And there's other places that I prefer to be a mid-carder to a low-carder just because I'm there to help them build their talent. CWF Mid-Atlantic is one of those places that I'm there to help them. And I told Brad's put a title on me before, and I told him I wanted it off. I dropped it like 2 weeks later a month later to a guy named Manny Garcia, who is now working developmental at WWE. So it's good choice. You're gonna drop a title of somebody, might as well drop it to somebody that's gonna go somewhere, right?
If it works to advance everything in the company, it's a good idea.
Definitely. And it was not like, I think it was 6 months after that he got signed, and good for him. He deserves it. He's so talented. But anyway, that was my thing there, and I told Brad when I got there, I was like, hey, brother, I'm here to help you. I was like, you got a lot of really young guys that are really talented, and that includes Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett, John Schuyler works there now, Brad Attitude, who's former FCW tag champ with Dolph Ziggler, Rick Converse, Eric Royal. There's just a lot of really, really good talent out of that place. And some better ones coming up with Chet Sterling coming up and Jesse Adler and guys like that you'll hear of soon, I promise you. So I go there and I help them get those guys over, and that's my job. Fine with it. And there's other places that one half of the NWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Champs right now, and we travel and we uphold the belts and do what we can to make those look great. And Mid-Atlantic is a small area. There's like 2 places that they're running out of West Virginia and out of Eastern North Carolina. And they've allowed Jimmy and I to just take the belts on the road and defend them anywhere we can. We'll be in Ohio in December. We'll be in Florida mid-November, from what I'm hearing. And, January next year, we're in Virginia, and we're just going to take them all over the place and send them as much as we can. They will lose them, right? So I understand my place in the card, and I understand what people need me to do well. So, again, it's not a main event. I don't even know what you would consider. I don't have a Taker's Shawn Michaels match that I can really go back to and say, man, that was the greatest thing ever. But I got a lot of really, really good, consistent matches that draw and help put asses in the seats. And that's what I really pride myself in.
Speaking of road trips, what you got coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Tomorrow I'll be in actually Kernersville, right down the street, at USIWF at their Bill E. Gedling Memorial Cup tournament, and I'll be involved in that. Next week, again, we'll be at CWS in Asheboro, North Carolina, where I'll be wrestling with Harlem Bravado, one half of the Bravado Brothers, against one half of Country Jacked, Adam Page, and the Southern Savior, John Schuyler. Outstanding talent. It's going to be a great match, at least. Probably a great show, so definitely be there. Ricky Reyes from Lucha Underground is going to be there, formerly ROH and everywhere else. He'll be there also. He's their heavyweight champion right now. Let's see. From there, I think I'm going to come down. You go to AWE in Georgia, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll be there. Not booked yet, but I'm going to hit up Josh. But Joe Black and Will Huckabee are going down.
Right.
And I think I'm going to jump in with them and go down and check them out to see if I can get on down there. So that's my plan over the next couple of weeks.
Their next show is going to be the 18th,
coming
right?
Up the end of November. We've got NOW up in Ohio we're going to be going with here soon. Obviously, everything with NWA Mid-Atlantic. Please check them out. And TNT Wrestling, CWF No Lag, AML Wrestling. Just a lot of really good promotions I've been working with are coming up soon.
So you're going to be in Atlanta on the 18th?
25th.
25th? I'll double check that because I know AWE has a show coming up on the 18th. Didn't know about 25.
I thought it was the 25th that they were going down.
We'll figure it out. Trust me. And we're going to go hit the Vortex. That's a damn guarantee.
Definitely.
Either that or we're going to Folkart and have the triple decker meatball burger. I'll get it right in a minute. I only saw it once on Triple D and it was a good idea. Folkart, Atlanta. Definitely got to check it out.
I think that fits in my diet of I eat whatever.
I call it hashtag stroke on a bun. Real quick.
Yeah.
How can everybody track you down on social, man? As always.
Easiest way to reach me is any social network. Just look up Real Mark James. And then for the Brutes, look up Book the Brutes. For any promoters that want to book us out there, it's bookthebrutes@gmail.com or on Twitter or on Facebook or wherever. But again, Real Mark James, REAL Mark James, for any other social networking. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I don't really do a lot of Snapchat, but I stalk people, so that's fun. Twitter. I finally got my Facebook. That's what I was doing. We've had the Brutes page up for a while. We've got a little over 1,000 people that have liked it.
Cool.
But I finally got it to where wherever I post there, it goes to Twitter. I've never used Twitter anymore, and I used to be on there all the time. But I guess I just got over it, because I'm old now. One more thing. Evidently, I've been talking to now kind of guest hosting a spot on Carolina Wrestling Live Radio, which is on the Blog Talk Network on 7:30 at night on Thursdays. So I'll be joining James Shaver on there and kind of my re-entry back into the podcasting world. I'm going to test it and see how it goes. It's been a long time, and as you can see, I talk a lot, so I'm not sure how good of an interviewer I'll be. but
never.
Yeah,
we always have to drag it out of you.
What's that?
We always have to drag it out of you.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that'll be good. I've been on a couple shows with him before, and I can see some things that we can have a lot of fun with. So I'll be joining him this Thursday, as a matter of fact.
Sounds cool, dude. Love to have you come. As always, the door's always open. Love to have you on board.
Of course. I appreciate you guys having me, and it's nice to meet you fellows. Hopefully I get to work with you guys in the future.
Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Always say always in pro wrestling. Never say never.
Yes.
That almost worked. I'm going to have to refine that phrase. Ladies and gentlemen, good friend of the family and a great friend, the Brute, Mark James, as always, ready to go. Beyond Ringside. Hang tight. Going to the break. Back in just a minute on the Saturday Showcase. The Shooters Gallery is open.
This is the voice of excellence at Excellent Professional Wrestling at Not the Tool Man, Tim Taylor. Usually I'm locked into Excellent Professional Wrestling, but now you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Man, Fast Eddie Layne, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here, live, every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
This is Country Jack, Corey Hollis, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
I'm addictive. I'm expensive. I'm Byron Wilcott. And ladies, Big Daddy Yum Yum is locked in to Beyond Ringside.
2010, after 2 years of constant bullying, 11-year-old Ty Smalley took his own life. In the past 7 years, more than 55,000 children have taken their own lives due to bullying. That's 22 youth suicides every day. Stand for the Silent is a grassroots organization that educates people about the harsh reality of bullying and the devastation it causes, and they need your help. Visit standforthesilent.org to learn how you can get involved and help us to save lives.
I stand for the silent. I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I stand for the silent.
I'm Roddy Piper, and we stand for the silent.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside, and you are a better person for it. Trust me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Smart Rage from Wrestle Rage Radio, coming to you from the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Join myself and my co-host, Super Stan Grubb, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern as we present Wrestle Rage Radio, where we rant and rave on everything in the world of pro wrestling. Sometimes we'll have a guest. Sometimes it'll be just me and Stan BSing about the sport that we love, pro wrestling. Check us out. Tune in Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, only on the Beyond Ringside Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside, and you are a better person for it. Trust me.
One of these days on the lead-in, I'll say what I want to say without stuttering my ass off. Guess what? Not going to happen. 22 after the top of the hour. Welcome back into the Saturday Showcase. The Shooters Gallery is open. Fast Eddie Layne live from Studio 1 from the CNA Studios. Robert Cosper.
Greetings. How are ya?
PWA Studios Online. Shane Noles. Welcome back.
Everything is everything, Fast Eddie Layne.
Special thank you to longtime friend and longtime friend of the family, Mark James, for coming on the board this morning. Always a pleasure to have him hang out with us. Guys, I'm going to turn it around, and as moderator, I get the chance to have a little fun and do that. I'm going to turn it to y'all. Questions, comments, ideas that are bouncing around in the head. And, Kaz, I'm going to go your way first. What's on the brain?
Yeah, I'm the guy who just said I don't have anything.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
Thanks so much.
I didn't hear that. Well, tell you what. You think for a second. I'll come back. Shane.
Curious to bring up in wrestling discussion this third match between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker being advertised, for Hell in a Cell. That is already confirmed. Your thoughts, both of you, do you think this is hot-shotting it too soon? Because to me, it was just out of nowhere. Hell in a Cell's the next pay-per-view. Oh, and guess what? Lesnar and Taker are going to be in it. It just didn't seem to have build of the previous two matches, and I think, for myself personally, I would like to see the third and final at least at the Royal Rumble, if not at the upcoming WrestleMania.
Kaz, go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. A couple of reasons. Yeah, no big build up, or not the build up that the others have had. I would kind of like to see, if we're going to do a third and final time, I would kind of like to see it take place at Mania, actually. Let Taker go out on a high note there. But then again, my big question, and I've said this over both of their previous matches, you got to worry about Taker's health. Lesnar's dangerous, and I don't mean that in the badass sense. I mean, he can be kind of clumsy and hurt people since. And Taker's been hurt before. Did you really want to get in a Hell in a Cell with Lesnar? I don't know. I'm not feeling this one. I'll tell you that.
And that's one of my thoughts on the topic too. And I wanted to pose it to you. Do you think, since pay-per-view, at least with WWE on their front, is going by the wayside as they continuously mock the fact that anyone would still buy a pay-per-view as opposed to the network, do you think now that there's the $9.99 guarantee per month, and there's going to be live event specials or, $9.99 events, do you think that they just think maybe we don't have to do that kind of bill for that match? Like they know they're getting a $9.99 pay-per-view, and here's something we can just throw on there very quickly that we hope get some more subscribers.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I never thought about it like that, and that is, you're right. I mean, Vince has always been, he's put out his best product when he's had competition. Now he doesn't have any competition, and it's kind of the same way here. It's, I can feed you what I want to feed you because this is the only place to eat, So, yeah, I mean, I never thought about it like that, but that's true. They don't have to build. That income is secure. If you bought the network, if you pay the network fee, that income's secure whether the pay-per-view's good or not, or whether it's built properly or not built properly. And if you're like me, you pay for the network for the content of the old stuff more so than your current. Yeah, it's a great way to see it. It's entirely possible.
If I may, I'd rather have the Taker Lesnar payoff at Rumble. Either that, no, that'd be the most logical place to do it, because if you put it at Mania, there's too much pressure for the storyline to go one way or the other. I would rather have it almost like neutral field rather than home field advantage. Mainly due to the fact, like I said, if you put Taker over, does that really hurt Lesnar? If you put Lesnar over, does it hurt Taker any more than it already has for him to lose another one at Mania to the same person? And I still have to sit back and say, when it's all put down in the history books, for as much as, no, I'm sorry, I just have to sit back and say it was still a mistake having Lesnar go over Taker. I'm sorry. There are some things that should be benchmark in our industry. There are some things that should be benchmark in any industry. And granted, I know Taker had to sign off on it just like Vince signed off on it. But the fact of the matter is, remembering the fact that when that happened, Lesnar was still part-time, or a special attraction, as Vince called it. Yeah, no. Sorry, can't go there. Still can't go there. Still can't go there 3 minutes later. I understand why it happened. I'm okay with it happening. I was okay then, just like I'm okay now. But there is a business side of me that says there were better people that down the road could have done the same damn thing. Lesnar didn't need the shine. Lesnar didn't need the rub. Lesnar didn't need the payoff. There are others that could have used it more than him. Agree or first off, I know I'm almost making sense, but I'm going to ask, agree or disagree on that one, Shane?
Agree. I mean, Lesnar didn't need it. He's already made. He was already a household name in wrestling and UFC by that time. And but I will say kudos to them for making him what he's been since that streak, because that's what worried me, is that he would get the win over Undertaker and then to be jobbing out to John Cena 2 months later, which it still baffles me. His first night back with the company, he went under to Cena in the very first match. And I don't know if that was just a dig at Brock, like you got to get back and play things our way. But I'm with you, and I thought, a year later, when he wrestled Bray, I thought that would have been the perfect scenario for Bray Wyatt. I mean, that would have made him going forward.
Cos?
It would have made Bray Wyatt. I've never been the Lesnar fan. I never have been. His greatest quality to me is Paul Heyman. I didn't care for him going over Taker in the streak. Now, I'm not a huge Undertaker fan, don't get me wrong. But the streak that was a measuring stick, and Bray Wyatt is a great example of somebody that could have benefited more than Lesnar. Lesnar was established, former champion already. His career in WWE was made. So, if you're going to break the streak, I think it should have been broken on somebody that it would have made their career. And there's several good ones out there that could use that break a lot more than Lesnar. I agree with both of you there.
Let me also go ahead and bounce this one, making a reference to the network. And I'm going to sit back and say what I have said for the last couple of weeks. The build-up toward Big Show and Lesnar was horrible. It was rushed. It was knee-jerk.
The 6-Day War.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And then at the end of it all, the next night on Raw, or Monday night on Raw, I hope you lose to Lesnar. I hope you lose to Undertaker. Again. Really? You couldn't come up with something better than that? Big Show is one of the most off-the-cuff creative people I have heard speak, period. That's the best y'all could... Excuse me. Where's the James Storm soundbite?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, legitimately speaking, and now by the same token, I don't care if Show is face, heel, Lesnar's heel face. Both of them are working tweener. They're Cabbage Patch Kids, Strawberry Shortcake, My Little Pony. I don't care. After the match, which wasn't bad, the Madison Square Garden match, wasn't bad, wasn't great. It's not going to be 5 stars. Hell no. Okay, retract the hell no. It's not going to be a 5-star match. I knew that going in. I saw that going through, and I understand it going out. But it wasn't a horrible match. It wasn't a bad match. It was actually a decent match. I think that little tried and true, I don't say tried and true in this particular regard to be complimentary. I think it's kind of passé. The schmozzing of the handshake or the extended hand. There comes a point in time where, regardless, and I'm not saying a click curtain call moment, but I'm sitting back going, if Show's hand is extended, Lesnar could still look him straight in the eye, slap his hand like he was going a low 5, walk on through, and go and have Show turn around and go, and you know it's going to be a totally different ball game when Taker gets a hold of you. Or don't expect the same result the next time you face Taker. You know, you can say things a certain way, sorry, and it come across better than the second-grade jabs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference between, I hope you lose again, and Joe's gonna kill you. First off, that's just funny.
Yes.
That's just still hilarious as hell.
I'm a huge Samoa Joe fan. I love it when the crowd starts yelling that. It's awesome.
But coming back to the network, I think that shows the Madison Square Garden Lesnar Big Show match build shows that they have to be more intelligent. They have to be smarter. They have to be more creative as far as the build goes. No, we can't use a 1-year build like they did Roxana, but at least give us something to go off of to where if, and this is something we can all agree on. This is something everybody can everybody that is listening can agree on. When you are presented something, i.e. a feud, program, storyline, whatever you want to call it, and it's presented to you in a manner that you can wrap your head around it in a logical sense. Yes, I'm using the words wrestling and logic in the same sentence. Trust me on this one. Ride with me on this one. If they present it to you in a way that A, is intelligent, rational, clear thought, you can wrap your head around it. If they present you something that tugs at the heartstrings properly, you can wrap your head and your heart around it. If they present it to you right, you'll spend money on it, even if it is $9.99. But coming down to it, I think that they've got to be more careful. I think they've got to be more intelligent the way that they book their if they're going to do the live events like Saturday night's main event on the network, they just can't make. If you're going to do a build, it needs to be smartly done. Don't insult the fans' intelligence because the Big Show's been on that joke roll for the last 4 months, and then all of a sudden he's the badass that's going to take out Lesnar in hell. You got to do better than that. You got to be smarter than that. It's not smart. It's just not smart television. Or to use Bischoff's line, it's not good television. I'm going to segue, and this is cause this may hurt. Shane, which Georgia team is going to show up today against Tennessee?
Oh. I'm going to say a vastly different Georgia team that showed up last Saturday. And by the way, I saw a great meme I meant to send over to you. It showed Butch Jones leading the Tennessee Volunteers out of the tunnel, and he said, "Let's go, Vols. Let's give them 45 minutes of football."
Oh. Funny. Yeah, and therein lies the funny part, because the question could be asked about both teams, because Tennessee vastly improved. Georgia had been clicking on all cylinders until they found Alabama. And this is something, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. For those listening last week. Shane was right. I was wrong. Ouch. Because Shane took
That pains you to say that, I know.
It doesn't hurt me to say that somebody else was right. It just pisses me off to say that I was wrong.
That's the part I was going to say, is the him saying he's wrong part's what's stinging right now.
I have no problem with someone else being right. I have a huge effing problem being wrong. And look, for anybody who'd been following Georgia and Alabama going into that game, Georgia had been clicking on all cylinders. Alabama had been sputtering. It didn't matter if it was Wisconsin, ULM, didn't matter. Ole Miss, loss. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, and I'm wondering, how big of a mistake was it for Mark Richt to let the Georgia players stand on that line, or create that line, and start taunting the Bama players as they're coming out of the tunnel? How big of a mistake?
You don't poke the beast. You never poke the beast.
But see, here's the thing. I asked this question. If you are the lead referee for that game, and you're seeing that's going on, and you're seeing it's about to get physical, and does get physical a couple of times, do you run the risk and throw a flag pre-game? Cause?
I'm sorry, I had my microphone muted.
It's okay, I heard.
Yeah, you got to the football part, you were boring me. No, I don't know. Are you still you talking about taunting people? Is that where we're at?
No, when Alabama was taking the field coming out of the tunnel in Georgia, lo and behold, the Georgia football team was right there lining up and taunting and really just trying to get under the skin and get inside the head of the Bama football players as they're coming through out of the tunnel. If you were, and noticing the fact that it's starting to get physical, there is some shoving going on, and the referees are getting in the middle of it to break it up. Mm-hmm. If you're the lead official on that game, do you throw a flag pre-game?
Yes, I would. I would open the game with a penalty. Yes.
Shane?
I would. I think it's no different than transitioning baseball here. The Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals playing in the National League Division Series. They've met 19 times in the regular season. There were 17 batters hit and a lot of bad blood. So looking at that, it's football. If you see that's going to be the mindset and the mentality going in, I think it's no different than an umpire warning both sides before the ceremonial first pitch is thrown. I mean, just to, curtail any shenanigans.
Who you going to take? Number 19, Georgia, or the home team, Tennessee?
I'm going to take Georgia. I think it's kind of like with Alabama, even though the previous game was not a loss, they had lost to Ole Miss. And if I'm right, that hasn't really been the narrative for Mark Richt to lose 2 games in a row. And I think sometimes the worst thing to face for me, I would think, is a team coming off a bitter loss that is motivated and hungry, as opposed to someone that's clicking on all cylinders.
Kaz, you want to weigh in?
I'll go Georgia. I agree.
I'm going Georgia all the way across the board. I picked them 2 weeks in a row. I'll be happy batting 500.
What's the line for entertainment purposes?
I have, believe it or not, I didn't look it up. Let me guess. I'm on the site right now, and I'm trying to get down to where it is. I had the Alabama-Arkansas game pulled up. Georgia, Tennessee. Georgia giving away 2.5. Georgia giving away 2. That just got changed. Believe it or not. Live line update. And the over's 59.5.
At first glance, that 2 points would seem a little bit ridiculously low to me. I mean, considering Tennessee's propensity for late game choking. Just call it like it is.
I'm taking Georgia in the over.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a shootout. I think that there is a part of the Georgia defense that might be a little bit disheartened after the way they were picked apart last week by Alabama, and they're going to they're struggling to find their identity all over again. And I think against Tennessee, that's going to be actually the worst game to try to figure out yourself. So I have a feeling this may turn into a shootout in a big way, and I'm going to go ahead and sit back and say I'll take Georgia in the over. To which I
agree. Those games normally seem to get into those 40 to 34 type scores.
Easily. Let's look at it real quick. Alabama, homecoming this early in the season. Really? Okay, I'll go there. Taking on Arkansas, and Alabama currently 16 with a over 48. Shane?
How could you not like Alabama to win this game? I think I know Arkansas still has a formidable running attack, but I know their lead back, if I'm correct, is out for
Jonathan
the year.
Williams is out.
Yeah, with a torn ACL. But that's the thing. I mean, last year, different circumstances. Bama heavy favorites on the road. They won that game 14-13. Arkansas seems to get up when they play the two schools from this state.
Which way are you going?
I will take Alabama. Now, 16 points. Yes, slightly. I think they win by 17.
I'm going to sit back. Yeah, I'll go and take. I'm just scared of taking Bama in any kind of points over 1.
I know you are.
I really am. Just like, really, kids? Holy crap. I'm going to take Bama in the over. I really am. I'm going to go ahead and take Bama in the over. Now, taking a look at tomorrow real quick. Also, taking a look at Sunday. I really can't stand calling them the Dirty Birds because I think that's just a gimmick more than anything. Like the name Falcons isn't a gimmick, but I just don't like the Dirty Bird, even though I've called them that myself. Atlanta and Washington right now, I've just got to sit back and say this could be a very entertaining game for Falcons fans. It could also be a very questionable game for Washington fans. I really am. Kirk Cousins is showing up sporadically, but I'm just going Falcons giving away 8 overs 47, Shane.
If this game was in Washington, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't dare touch it. But the Falcons at home are one of those teams that really have that home field advantage. You know their offense is going to click. 8 points is a lot. I have no doubt they could get up something, say 27-10. But as you alluded to, that means Kirk Cousins is going to start throwing.
Right.
Garbage time could bring that score a lot closer than it should be.
Another one that I'm really curious about, and that is going to be Philadelphia versus New Orleans. Regardless of where this game is played, the New Orleans finally got that bounce win, and Philadelphia has been up and down, but New Orleans has just been a huge question mark. This is going to be actually the game where you have to find out who wants to win it more as opposed to who wants to lose it more, right?
I was going to let Kyle take this one before I spoke.
He doesn't do NFL, but go ahead.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Oh, gotcha. I think, this is a measuring stick game. I think the winner of this game is going to be sitting at 2-3. The loser 1-4. And, it's almost like, hey, you win, you still got a chance for the playoffs. At 1-4, your backs are totally against the wall, and it's an uphill climb. I'm going to take the Saints. I normally don't like New Orleans on the road anywhere, but at this point, I don't like Philadelphia beating anyone.
I think it's a scary thought. There's a part of me that believes that they're going to try to run Chip Kelly out of town on a rail without even having a chance to really prove himself. But I think there is this little part in my brain that is having flashbacks to Nick Saban at Miami. This may not end well. Speaking of ending well, I can't really use that analogy on this one. I feel bad for the Oakland Raiders. They got to face even though they're at home against Denver this week, it's like, Oakland's making positive moves. If they can stay healthy, it would be a beautiful thing. But I think that Peyton Manning is going to use this possibly for a statement game. Agree or disagree?
Agree. I mean, Oakland, we'll see what they're truly made of because they lost a game last week they should have won, and everybody will tell you in that locker room they should have won against Chicago. But now coming back home, Jack Del Rio, the coach, the Black Hole will be fired up. You know, he wants to get an opportunity to play his former team, Denver. But it's a scary thought. I mean, everyone still thinks offense. Denver, the running game hasn't been there. Peyton Manning is barely getting by, but their defense is so strong. They've only given up one passing touchdown all year, so it could be a long day for Derek Carr and Amari Cooper.
To which I'm going to sit back and go, you're right. I think it will be a long day. It's just, and this is the one that I'm really kind of curious about. Honestly, New England on the road in Dallas. Brady goes to Jerry World. Will he take Giselle and the kids? But is there really some place for the kids to play in Jerry World? Don't answer that question. I'm afraid to find out. But from there, I'll just go ahead and lay it out there. I think that New England walks in. I don't think they waltz out, but I think they emerge with a victory because I think Dallas's defense is going to probably throw some curveballs their way because they've been waiting on a game like this. Shane?
They have to. My initial thoughts when I saw that game on the schedule was you couldn't make the line high enough for New England. Coming off a bye, we know Bill Belichick coming off a bye, that team will be prepared. Now, if Des Bryant or Romo were in this game, I would actually like Dallas as a home dog. But I'm like you, I think Dallas may hit them in the mouth pretty easy and throw some different schemes at them and keep it close. But I think New England probably collects the cobwebs and comes out with the win. The game that I'm curious about to get your thoughts on is Green Bay at home, a 10-point favorite against the St. Louis Rams. We know the Rams had a tremendous defense, and now with the emergence of Todd Gurley, they have an opportunity to keep that close.
I'm taking the Packers all day long in this regard. I think that St. Louis has some, and soon to be known as the LA Rams.
Again, thank God.
Yeah, I know. But unfortunately, I hate to see St. Louis lose the team because a majority of the fans have become so attached to the team, and the Rams need to be back in LA after all these years. I think that's a beautiful thing. You've had San Diego fans going, "You're not getting the Chargers, scrap that." I mean, and the Raiders need to stay, but that's going to put 4 NFL teams within 100 miles of each other. Really? But you got to remember, Los Angeles is, in theory and in all practical application, the number 1 or number 2 entertainment market in the country. And I think that you may have the fan base. I know they have the fan base built in already to support one team. I don't know how well it would work for 2 teams, but hey, if they're willing to spend the money, I'll watch it. I'll watch it fly or I'll watch it flop. That could actually be the title of a segment: Flight or Flop. Writing this one down. Hold on. Yeah, I got Notepad open. I'll take the Packers. Legit, straight up because preseason I said Packers Seahawks in the NFC Championship game again. And I'm seriously looking at the way the Packers are playing, and it's like you've got them clicking on all cylinders. They're going to be hard to stop as long as everybody stays healthy. I appreciate the Rams. I love what they're doing there, but by the same token, I can't take anything away from the Pack right now.
Yeah, especially at home. The Rams, I'm sure they'll try to run with Gurley early to keep Aaron Rodgers and company off the field, but you can only do that for so long. And the other game I wanted to mention to you, you brought up Seattle. Now going to the 1 o'clock time zone, playing the undefeated Cincinnati Bengals in the jungle. I think the Bengals are 3-point favorites.
I think Seattle's defense is going to basically throw fits on Cincinnati. I think that the offense that is being run right now by the Bengals has some great upsides, but with everything falling back into place for the Legion of Boom, I am going to be very trepidatious about the way I look at this situation. I'm tracking it down right now. Actually, Cincinnati's giving away 3, and the over's 43.5. The time zone variation is going to make a difference. But by the same token, I know that Seattle can overcome. They've been a little bit questionable in certain facets right now, but by the same token, it's like, who saw Cincinnati doing everything they've been doing this year? I may just go ahead and take the risk and take the Bengals. And in looking at a 3-point spread on this one, I'd still sit back and say it's more of a pick 'em. But I would actually go ahead and sit back and say I'll take 43.5. I'll take the under. I'll take Cincinnati and the under right now. Shane?
I like it too. I mean, I wish it was 2.5. At 3 points, it's so hard to pick the Seahawks to lose by more than a field goal. And I'm sure you're like me. Anytime you take the Bengals, the hair on the back of your neck starts to stand up. It's just based on previous history. But I'm going to take the Bengals at home. I think they have a good running game with 2 running backs, Jeremy Hill, Giovanni Bernard, and the vertical passing game that the offensive coordinator Hugh Jackson's put in. I think they can throw enough looks, different things at the Legion of Boom to barely eke out. I mean, I'm looking at 24-20, so that would be just a tad on the over.
Yeah, the thing about it is, and I still look at that 3, and there's this part of my brain that is screaming that it's going to come down to a missed 2-point conversion. Now watch, we go to overtime, and that clicks right in there. It's like,
and remember, no Marshawn Lynch for the Seahawks, which I think they could get by against the Detroit Lions, but Cincinnati ain't Detroit. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's true. Well, you got to remember, since Detroit doesn't have Sue anymore, thank God. Of course, I wish the NFL didn't have Sue. Johnny Cash.
No, he's down in Miami wrecking my proud Dolphins. So.
Yeah, no. Drama. Tell you what, real quick, before we hit the last calls, I want to remind everybody, I really don't want it to segue over by saying the drama continues. However, tonight, for our good friends up in the Northeast, keep your eyes open. Actually, be ready to hit the road. Combat Zone Wrestling, Tangled Web 8, tonight at Flyer Skate Zone 601 Laurel Oak Road in Voorhees, New Jersey. Also in Sellersville, Pennsylvania. Grand Slam Wrestling, back in action. Great promotion. If you get a chance to, check them out. Good friend of the family, Phil Stamper, is actually the general manager for Grand Slam Wrestling. Looking forward to hearing some more great things. Also from there, you've got, my brain just, Excellence Pro Wrestling tonight. Hang on a second. I've got to backtrack. Grand Slam Wrestling will be in Moosic, Pennsylvania. Got it. Okay. And then, lo and behold, Excellence Pro Wrestling will be in Sellersville, Pennsylvania this evening. Gotta love Excellence Pro because the name of their show tonight is, check please, not kidding, one of our new best friends, the Proletariat Boar of Moldova, taking on another good friend of ours here on the shows, Oleg the Usurper. That's tonight, Excellence Pro Wrestling in Sellersville, Pennsylvania. Check them out, excellenceprofessionalwrestling.com. Got a lot of shows going on this weekend, a lot of things happening all the way across the lower 48 and beyond. I wish we had time to run down the calendar, and I've got a new calendar that's going to be coming out on Tuesday. Nate Stein, thank you for sending everything over. It is always greatly appreciated. I'm going to kind of put you on the spot before we hit last calls real quick. Shane, part of the announcement has been laid out there for next Saturday night in Carrollton, Georgia. Would you care to do the honors?
Are we talking about the upcoming event, November the 7th or October 17th?
October 17th.
October 17th, triple threat match for the PWA Heritage title. I know you and Cosper were in attendance last Saturday. What a tremendous performance by both Kyle Matthews and Cedric Alexander. A 30-minute time limit draw. And now both of them get a shot at Jimmy Ray for the Heritage title. Could go any way, any number of ways in that match.
I made the comment before last week's outing that match had match of the year implications on it. I stand by that statement because Cedric Alexander, Kyle Matthews absolutely tore the house down. And these two and the fans loved it. The fans genuinely, I believe the majority of the fans actually genuinely appreciated the match from start to finish, including the guy on the left-hand side of the stage wearing the blue shirt dogging out Cedric all night long. You had your own version of Peanut. Cause?
You had to go and ruin such a great moment. I was going to talk about what a great match that was and a great introduction to Peachstate for me. And you had to say Peanut.
I'm sorry. I really am.
He's cashew for us.
He's cashew. Funny.
So that works. That works.
As long as he's not Almond Joy. Oh. Splat.
Real quick, and this is just, you brought up Peachstate, but so much was riding on last Saturday, and I know you got an opportunity, both of you, to be in the building, Eddie on commentary. Did it feel to you that top to bottom the show flowed, that it gelled, that it came off as like an event with some foreshadowing for things coming down the road?
That's the way I mentioned it on Sunday during BR Live and Tuesday during Back to Basics, the 10 count. I said it had a great flow to it from start to finish. I apologize for my snafus during commentary during the first part of the four-way scramble match. That was me trying to get my head totally into the game and trying to get all the technical stuff worked out with Pierce real quick because we were having some last-second stuff. But like I said, I thoroughly from start to finish, and I would say the same thing if I was not on stage with a microphone in front of me. If I was sitting front row, second row, or all the way back on 35th row, I had a great time watching every bit of it, and it was an absolutely, I'll give you this word, smooth. Cos?
Yes, it flowed well. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Great show, top to bottom. But let's be honest, Eddie's highlight to the whole thing's America. We all know that. I mean,
really?
What? We know you've got a crush on her.
No, it's just a serious case of like, okay? I've hung out with her. I've spoken with her.
Well, I can't lie. When I'm standing literally 5 feet from her in the ring in that very moment, it's crazy the things you think about in the ring. I thought, God, there's a lot of guys that'd like to be up here in this close proximity.
No kidding.
No, she's actually a cool girl. I really like her. She's very nice. I just don't want to miss an opportunity to make fun of you.
Of course. You get your shots in. That's part of the deal. We're good with that.
I was worried about Shane. I thought she was about to give him the beat down for a minute.
And then Simon Sermon comes in and just totally... Yeah, what
I
can you
will
say?
say this coming Saturday, I am in the ring in the squared circle with Simon Sermon, and I have quite the surprise for Simon Sermon Saturday. I think something that no one is going to see coming, even though I'm now alluding to that there will be a surprise. I think it will still shock you, one of those jaw-dropping moments.
Now I'm worried.
Oh.
Are we shocking me or are we shocking Simon? That's the thing.
Shocking everybody. Shocking everybody.
I'm worried.
You should be.
It will either be flight or flop, and I hope it's not the latter.
Oh, this will fly. I've got about 6 different scenarios running through my head right now. I really do. Knowing your creative process, what I've been able to learn so far, I guarantee you've got something up your sleeve, and it's going to work. I feel for Simon Sermon because his hair's probably going to turn white. Probably faster than my beard. No, but seriously, like I said, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to act like I know what it is, even though it sounded like I had a little bit of a clue. I honestly don't. But knowing the fact that anything can happen at a Peachstate show, this is going to be fun, and I'm ready to find out what the hell it is. And
I'll throw a teaser out there. It plays into a very important moment in Peachstate's past.
That is as vague as it comes. By the way, real quick, folks, in addition to Shane being in the ring with Simon Sermon, the triple threat match for the PAWA Heritage Championship, Jimmy Rave defending against Cedric Alexander and Kyle Matthews, Iceberg slated to be back alongside of Jeff G. Bailey to take on Dusty McWilliams. If you missed this past show, remember the DVD is available. Check out PeachstateWrestlingAlliance.com. You get a chance to check it out, and you might just recognize a voice, a familiar voice doing commentary on there. Pierce, thank you. Dustin, thank you. I had a great time doing commentary on that show. Let's go and take it around the horn real. Oh, by the way, No Limits title match in a rematch. P-Dog, Mike Posey, taking on Kevin Blue. We're going to have more information about the show coming up this Tuesday on Back to Basics. I'll have the full rundown for everybody. Robert Cosper, last call.
No, you're going to bring up P-Dog and then throw last call. Yeah. P-Dog is awesome. Huge fan. I love it. Well, I want to just last call, since I don't really have any shout-outs anymore, so my last call is going to be just one point we didn't hit on last minute here. We talked about Storm showing up in NXT.
Yep.
Which James Storm do we get? Do we get the Cowboy James Storm, or do we get the Wyatt family version James Storm?
I hope it's the Tennessee Cowboy.
Me too.
Shane?
I hope James Storm is not left saying sorry about his damn luck by the time his NXT run is over.
Agreed. Oh, I think he's main roster material. It's just how long does it take to bring him up there?
I do too. I mean, being a TNA mainstay that long, James Storm to me had a good it factor. Now, whether it be bad booking, whether it be just wrong place, right time, vice versa, but it just seemed like James Storm in the right situation could really do some amazing things. Very good on the microphone and very good in the ring. I hope he gets that opportunity to shine.
Agree. Still, I think my favorite James Storm moment of all times is still when he and Miss Jackie took the beer to the AA meeting when they were looking for Rhino. That was classic.
James Storm has had all the way back to America's Most Wanted. James Storm has just had so many great moments in Impact Wrestling. I hate to see things break apart the way that they have, but anytime you get a chance to go to that different level, that next level, so to speak, and for him picking up NXT, I hate it. Look, I was watching one of the news groups that I pay attention to, or one of the Facebook groups that I pay attention to, and the person said, "I just hate the fact that he's going to NXT." Dude, NXT is one of the hottest freaking things going right now. If I had my druthers, I'd rather be on NXT than Raw or SmackDown. Sorry, gospel, legit, and yes, my friends, that's called a shoot.
Yeah, look at the NXT roster.
Amen. Look,
absolutely. I mean, Zack Ryder was delighted for his quote-unquote demotion to NXT. What's that say about the main roster at times?
Well, you know that they pulled down a video, post-match video, where Sasha said she hates the fact that she's leaving NXT, but she knows that there's going to be some great things happen on the show. I mean, on the main roster. Matter of fact, hold on. WWE, let me find it. It's worth noting, and this is on Lords of Pain. Thank you to Mark Middleton. It's worth noting that WWE has deleted the NXT TakeOver Respect Fallout video from YouTube with Sasha Banks and NXT Women's Champion Bayley reacting to their match. The video features Bayley calling Sasha the best in the world, and Sasha saying she didn't want to leave NXT, but looked forward to doing something with Bayley in the future. So, I don't see anything wrong with the video. I mean, you're inside the same umbrella, the same corporate umbrella, but hey, what the hell? Going to turn it around. Shane Noles, last call.
I'd like to give a huge shout out to Sidewalks for keeping me off the streets.
Doom.
Had to get one bad pun in here. I mean, we're almost to the conclusion, so.
Well, matter of fact,
the best for last.
And let me go ahead and throw this one at you real quick. I know it's short notice, and I apologize for the call on this one, but I'm going to go ahead and say, trivia question for the week.
Now that we have Cause on here, I'll leave it to you guys to come to maybe a mutual agreement on your category. What you would like.
Anything but football, or I'll even go anything but NFL football.
Eddie? Sports, movies, music, food, beverage, history?
Potpourri.
Oh, gosh.
Grab bag here.
I'll take grab bag potpourri for 300, Alex.
We'll do song titles. This was a question posed at the Metal Mushroom Wednesday down in Oxford, Alabama. Useless trivia. Shameless plug here. 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern. Metal Mushroom, come out and have a good time. Song titles. What is the most played song in the world? Because at least since 1983, there has not been 1 second where this song was not playing in at least 2 locations routinely around the globe.
Cause, you want to take a crack at it?
No, because I know you know the answer to this. I don't know. It's going to be blatantly obvious, but I don't have a clue what it is.
It is going to be blatantly obvious. I will venture a guess. AC/DC, You Shook Me All Night Long.
That is incorrect.
That sucks.
The last part of that question, since 1983, there's been at least 2 locations where it's played non-stop religiously. I guess trying to steer you towards the answer here.
It's not Video Killed the Radio Star.
Locations of venue that would really have this song on a continuous loop.
On a continuous loop?
Mm-hmm.
83. Wow. First thing, actually, I was just thinking all the way across the board, and you knew that Shook Me All Night Long is always playing somewhere. It's kind of like the Andy Griffith Show and I Love Lucy. It's always playing somewhere. 83. For some reason, I want to say that I know it's not the Tubes' She's a Beauty. Thriller.
This is going to shock you. The correct answer is It's a Small World.
Shoot me.
Always playing routinely in Disneyland, Disney World.
Oh.
Yeah. Dang it. I was trying to cheat and look on the interweb there. Couldn't find it.
Shots fired. Officer down. Send back up again.
Wow. Wait, no.
Okay, I'll throw you the bonus round here.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
On song titles. What two songs have, and these are song titles, we'll say, with different lyrics. Like if I were to say the song Beautiful, that has been done by Eminem. It has been done by Mariah Carey. Two different songs with completely different lyrics. What two songs have entered the Billboard Hot 100 chart, each a record 16 times? Now, those are 16 different songs by 16 different artists. They all have the same title. Both song titles are one word.
No earthly idea. I'm cheating.
Heartbreaker.
Incorrect.
Mariah Carey, Tom Petty and the Heartbreak. Pat Benatar. Let's see. Oh, there's another one that pops into mind. Is it a one-word title?
Both of them are one-word titles.
Fantasy.
No.
Well, there went Aldanova.
What if I started dropping some artists on one particular song?
Okay, Cos, do you have a guess at it?
I have zero guess, but modern music, I'm no help whatsoever anyway. But yeah, I need a hint.
Okay, first artist on the first song. I'll give you one. Aerosmith. If that makes a one-word song title come.
Crazy.
There you go. That's
Which one?
it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Correct. Crazy. Patsy Cline, Gnarls Barkley, Aerosmith, several other artists. Yes, you're in the top 100 with that song. The other, a one-word title, also done by Aerosmith.
Crying.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Stumped.
Besides Aerosmith, let's throw out
Angel.
Shaggy.
Angel. Yeah.
Yeah. Angel.
Correct.
Permanent Vacation. Was that it?
That is correct.
That was correct. All right. Good call, Cos. Yeah, I needed the hints, but other than that, I'm okay on that side. Okay, cool. Now, where are you doing? Where are you doing useless trivia right now? Oh,
I think we lost him.
We just lost him. Crap! I hate it when that happens. Man, when he says he's got to go at 12, he goes at 12. Hang on, let me see if I can get him back in real quick. Yeah.
Believe he's done with you, Layne.
I hate it when that happens. For everybody listening this morning or this afternoon, thank you for hanging out. We hope you had a great time. I'm going to go ahead and run this down real quick. Banks Bailey, match of the year candidate. I'm all over the concept. Paragon Pro Wrestling. For our friends out west, mark your calendars. Tuesday, November the 3rd, national television taping at Sam's Town in Las Vegas, Nevada. And if you have Pop TV, check it out. Paragon Pro Wrestling. This week's episode, excellent. Really enjoyed it, and I'll have a little bit more detail about it coming up on BR Live tomorrow night. From that vantage point, TNA with the Championship Series. I like the concept. I like the premise. I just think it could have been done a little bit differently, but you know something? I'm okay. Matt Hardy doesn't have the belt anymore. Ouch. I'm kidding, Matt. I'm kidding. And to all the Matt heads out there, God, don't take things so freaking seriously. Want to remind everybody, the trifecta. Okay, let's go ahead and go straight for it. Shameless on this side of the board. The trifecta returns tomorrow, October the 11th, Beyond Ringside Live, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Central. Wrestle Rage Radio kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And on Sunday, the 11th, the brand new episode of the Midnight Black Mass with Reverend Dan Wilson at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central. Live programming resumes on Tuesday the 13th with Back to Basics, the 10 count. I will be joined by longtime friend and the voice for Southern Legacy, I will say, the spokesman for Southern Legacy Wrestling. Getting ready for their show next Sunday in the Muscle Shoals area. Jack Noles, the Bomber, is back on BR Back to Basics. Looking forward to being able to hang out with Jack, find out what's on his brain, find out a little bit more about Southern Legacy Wrestling. Thank you to everybody who's been joining us this week. Like I said, it's a great time this past Tuesday, a lot of fun this past Wednesday. TBD returns on the To Be Determined show returns on October the 14th. Had to get that in there. It's contractual. That's the way Wick re-signed. But on the 14th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, the To Be Determined show. Thank you to Tommy Too Much for coming on this past Wednesday night. Cos, I appreciate you, brother. Shane, I hate we lost you before the final credits rolled. I keep looking to the screen to see if you might be able to make it back in real quick. But I will say, folks, keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com. For me personally, FastEddieLayne.com. Thank you to everybody who came out to play last night at Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster. Had a great time. Folks, going to call it a day here at the Radio Ranch. For Shane Noles, thank you, sir. For the cause, Robert Cosper.
Over and out.
I am the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, saying until next time, join us right here as we all go beyond ringside. It's time to put the rifle down, time to clean out the sights, or clean off the glass in the sights. The shooter's gallery, for now, is now closed. We'll see you next week.